So yeah, I've managed to broke the most reliable car I've ever owned. Well, sort of. And yes, I did break it. So what happened was I was driving home once in traffic, and then I was pulling off, and like that, no boost at all. So I was suspecting the DPF might be clogged because I don't think I did a proper job of flushing it out. So back again, subframe out, everything out, drive shaft out, get the DPF out. So what has broke today? No boost. That's it, foot to the floor. And that's only first. If you go into any other, if you go to like second, third, it gets even worse. I watch this. Second, foot to the floor. That's it. All the way. So let's see what broke. So can you hear that hitting? It's from somewhere here. There's a major boost from somewhere. My eyes are burning as well. So when I ran the car, a lot of smoke came from like this sort of region, so I was thinking the turbo's leaking air on like an inlet or something, or outlet. So I went underneath the car, and the entire back of the engine's covered with oil. This is covered with oil, and that wasn't a thing before. So I took all the battery box, air box out, all that stuff. I'm going to take this plastic bit off and see if there's any play in the turbo, but if there's a lot of oil in the back, that means oil inlet is gone, and if oil inlet's gone, that means the turbo's seized. So I don't know. So yeah, the most reliable Skoda has broken down, and as I expected, it's so hard to show you, but there is play in the turbo, and it doesn't move freely at all. So the turbo's gone, but I still can't find the source of the oil leak, so I'll keep on digging. So I took the charge pipe off, and then there's a bit of oil in it, but there's not too much, so I sprayed that with brake cleaner, and it's actually not that much, so I really don't know. So if you know if there should be a little bit of oil in it or nothing at all, please let me know, because I have no idea. I'm going to take these off because all these bolts are from underneath. So yep. So this is full of shit. Yeah, the two check engine codes I'm getting are from the ones that I've been having for past 2 months. I had them for 5,000 miles and nothing happened. So something else must have caused all this. And both of those check engine lights are for like bad signals with the DPF sensors, and that's it. But yeah, someone's already been here before. Like, look at that. Someone snapped this off and it just heated it up and glued it back together. There's zip ties there. So someone's been here before. The mount is new, but it was mounted incorrectly. It was so off skew that it was constantly pushing on that side. It should be somewhere in the middle as it is now, so I fixed that. But yeah, something's rattling and squeaking. I think that mount is a bit short now. This pipe's been changed, but they put a bigger one on and they just hose clamped it to fuck. This is leaking, the tandem pump inlet, so I'm going to order that one new. Well, we'll see if I order that one new. Depends how much this is going to cost to repair. If it's too much, I think I'm just going to have to scrap it, fortunately. So I've got a theory. I've slept on it and I've got a few ideas. So a lot of exhaust smoke came from here and the oil dropped. So my theory is that one of the oil seals went, clogged the DPF, which caused back pressure and broke something here. Most likely the turbo. That's my theory. So let's get the DPF out and go from there. So I got a bit carried away, and yeah. So can see all that fresh oil leaking from somewhere above the DPF. So I've got the subframe out, the right control arm. Next I'm going to pull the power steering rack, and that should allow me to take the DPF out. If this car wasn't 4-wheel drive, you could get away with keeping the power steering rack in, because you could squeeze it where the drive shaft is. There, that thing. But yeah, because this is 4-wheel drive, you can't, so you have to take the power steering rack out first, and then you can go from there. So I've got both the drive shaft out, as well as the control arm, subframe, everything, as well as the steering rack. You have to unbolt from the inside of the car. I'm going to fix the exhaust as a break in the middle. But yeah, and now I see a bit better what's going on, but I still can't see where the oil's coming from. So the DPF next. So I've got the DPF out. That's the turbo. Everything's covered with oil, so I don't even know where it's coming from. Like the highest point, that's everything's wet. It's probably somewhere here. So I'm hoping it's not the head that's pissing out oil. But that still doesn't explain why there's no boost. I think the DPF is clogged because it's quite much heavier than I remember. And the turbo shouldn't be that sooty. So I'm going to pour some water through it, see what happens. So I took the DPF out, cleaned it. Yes, I've cleaned it. It's cleaned, I'm going to put it back in. But I still can't figure out where the oil is coming from. So I'm going to start it and see what's happening. Yeah, I'm going to start it like that without filters, without throttle body, without everything. Yeah, cry me a river, that's going to happen. So I figured out it was just the DPF that was clogged and the buckle cover gasket that's gone. You can do that without taking the back of the engine out. So I've ordered the gasket. These bolts on the back of the engine were so loose, I'm not even joking, like it was not even hand tight. So I think it's the heat and the edge that's loosened them up. So I tightened them up, I've ordered the gasket, I'm putting everything back together. But this is the most annoying part ever. It's so heavy and there's just no other way of doing it, especially on the floor. You just have to use 2 jacks, so another set of hands would be quite helpful, but I'm doing my own. I've done it before, so it's just a lot of fiddling. These bushes always go bad, so if you've got some silicone or tiger seal, fill that up and you save yourself quite a lot of money replacing this, because it's quite a lot of labour to do it. You can get some inserts, but I just got the filled it with silicone, so it's a lot stiffer, because mine was starting to rip on the edges. And yeah, so I'm going to try and fit it back together. Hopefully I'm not missing anything. The DPF is not connected because I need to get that straight connection there, if you can see. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, everything's connected up. There's few loose wires that I need to connect, clean all that grease from that old CV shaft. Got a new CV shaft. I've noticed that the brakes are binding, so I'm going to take them apart, clean them up. Might do that for the back as well if I get time to. But yeah, I'm going to try and fit this subframe. Honestly, it's such a pain because the wires, you need to feed them through the hiss, connect them into this, but you can't see what you're doing. There's literally almost no space. Whoever designed this, you're a cunt. And there's no other way of doing it. If you're thinking of putting the steering rack in first, there's no way of holding it up. So yeah, love it. I couldn't put the wires in because of this piece, so I hung it off a strap on this side and a strap on that side, and I just loosen this side, well, loosen that side as loose as it goes before it starts to fall apart. And I took this side out. So now then you can plug in all your wires. Now I'm going to slot this back in, and I'm going to use the ratchets to pull it up to its place. Hopefully that works. So yeah, I've managed to broke the most reliable car I've ever owned. Well, sort of. And yes, I did break it. So what happened was I was driving home once in traffic, and then I was pulling off, and like that, no boost at all. So I was suspecting the DPF might be clogged because I don't think I did a proper job of flushing it out. So back again, subframe out, everything out, drive shaft out, get the DPF out, and then I properly cleaned it, assemble all back together, started it straight into limp mode. Obviously it's going to go straight into limp mode. So I plugged in my laptop, tried to get delete the DPF problem as well as the EGR while I'm at it, but then clever mind like me didn't put the battery on trickle charger, so I bricked the ECU. So that's quite clever, but it took me a while to realise that I bricked the ECU. Managed to find the ECU, someone to program it, delete the immobiliser, and now it's running again. And it also has a stage 1 map, so about 190 horsepower, 420 foot-pound of torque, I'm not quite sure, I'll pop it on the screen. And it drives quite nice now. There's no smoke coming out the back, so it's got EGR delete, DPF delete, and stage 1. It's got a few check engine lights because one of the sensors got like a fray in the cable, but that's an issue for another day. But it runs now. I think I spent close to 500 quid in repairs, but I had to get the ECU with the cluster, keys, modules and stuff like that, but I only needed the ECU, so I'm going to try and sell them on and get some money back. But than that, it runs fine now. There's a small oil leak from a rocker cover gasket that I'm going to sort out soon. The gasket is only like tenner, so I'm going to do that. But now it drives fine, it's quick. I've noticed slight improvement on the fuel efficiency, but since it's stage 1 I've been following it anyway because it's quite fun. But yeah, that's what I broke on the car. It's a bit more fun to drive, that's it. And I also managed to crack a windshield. I don't know how I managed that, if you can see that. Put that thing over to stop it from cracking more, but I'm going to try and get that sorted. So far this car owns me just over £2,000. If I had to guess, around £2,100, which is still the cheapest Scout in UK. I keep having a look, like every few days, if I find a cheaper one. The next cheapest one I found was over 200,000 miles, wrecked. Like I'm telling you, wrecked. It was worse shape in this one, and he still wanted £3,000. So it's still the cheapest Scout, even though I had to put a lot of elbow grease and repair work. But if I didn't fuck up the ECUs myself, it would have only costed me like 200 quid to get back on the road. But while I was in there, I've noticed there's a slight play on the turbo, so I think that will be an issue down the line. But the entire turbo is only 250 quid, so that's not too bad. Alright, so let's go for a bit of a drive and I'll show you how more nippy it is. So as you can see, so I still have a check engine light, coil light, airbag light and the traction control light. So the airbag light is because when I was chasing down the problem, I was looking for if any cables are frayed or one of the relays are burnt or fuses. So I took the glove box out looking for CAN bus module, but it's not there, it's underneath the dash on this side. And I unplugged the switch that turns on and off the passenger airbag without unplugging the battery first, so that just needs clearing. The check engine light and the coil light is for the one of the cables is frayed for the exhaust system, like one of the sensors, so that's not a big issue. And the traction control light, I'll post a picture in. I took the cluster out because I was already suspicious that's there, because it would never come on when you put the keys in, and when you start it, so I already knew there's a tape over it, or it's mapped out. So I opened the cluster, and Lord behold, there is a bit of tape over it. So that's been done by a previous owner. But the ABS still works, so that's, but yeah, traction control it's not really working somehow. Sometimes does, sometimes isn't. But yeah, that's it really. With the check engine lights, the car drives a lot better. There's almost no turbo lag. So put your foot down. This is not even full throttle, and it just picks up and goes. And that was in fourth. But yeah, if your car's a bit sluggish, clean your DPF, clean your EGR, and stage 1 it. 4-gear pull. No problem. Honestly, it's so much better than when it was stock. Yeah, I know I said I'm going to keep it stock, but while the guy was mapping out the EGR, just the EGR obviously. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments below and I'll try to answer you. Follow me on my Instagram and I'll see you on my next one. Cheers.